Hi, this is State Representative Antonio Parkinson, and I'm welcoming you back to another Tennessee Black Caucus Weekly. And I am honored today to have none other than my colleague, my new colleague, freshman colleague, who is also the vice chair of the Tennessee Black Caucus, Representative Sam McKenzie. Sam McKenzie, welcome. We're happy to have you.
Thank you. I really appreciate all the love and excitement I've had since I took office in November. It's a frenetic pace, but I'm up for the challenge.
Right, and we're just getting started.
Yes.
Right, and so I always tell people, we're in that space right now where, we're still happy to see everyone because we hadn't seen them over the summer and so on and so forth, and we're still hugging each other. But as soon as that first bill dies in committee, those hugs become chokes. And so we're about to get into that space right now, and the legislative session will pick up pace and start moving at a ferocious pace, and then we get into the budget, and then next thing you know, it's over with, and we're all kind of stir crazy walking around in circles. So that's kind of how the process happens. But we're excited to have you. Freshman legislator,
yes.
Out of the Knoxville area. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I am definitely new to the General Assembly, but I'm not new to politics. I served 8.5 years as Knox County Commissioner from 2008 to 2016. And for those who don't know, my wife is the vice mayor of the city of Knoxville, where she represents the City Council District 6. So I've been very active in Knoxville politics my entire adult life.
Right. Well, now, I'm trying to keep you from getting in trouble when you go back home, so please give your wife a shout.
I will do it. I will tell Glenn hello.
Right. Yeah, and she's doing amazing things at the City Council in Knoxville, too, so I want to make sure that we do mention that. Now, you're the vice chair of the Tennessee Black Caucus of State Legislators, so you're a freshman and you jump right in the water. I mean, coming off the ropes off the top.
That's right.
Right. So how do you feel about that?
Well, this is a 2-year assignment, so I'm going to take advantage of every opportunity that I can. I can make the Black Caucus better from just a linear strategic process. So it was an opportunity, and I'm very, very fortunate and grateful that the caucus saw fit to elect me.
Well, we're excited to have you as the vice chair. Now, I cannot talk to you on this interview and not ask, what do you do in your regular life?
Well, I've gotten a lot of interesting comments. I'm a physicist by training. I work at Oak Ridge National Laboratory. I tell folks I put up the research hat and turn to the dark side of management. But I work at a place called the Spallation Neutron Source. It's the world's most powerful accelerator, and we use our accelerator to produce protons. We slam those protons into a pool of mercury, and we release the neutrons from the mercury atom. And we use those neutrons for material sciences. How you make better batteries? There's plenty of cars. We'll take it from 400 to 500 to 600 miles on a single charge. We look at structures of materials. How can you make airplane wings better? Just a variety of material sciences. It's an exciting place.
Man, I got to look in the camera and say this, man. My inner nerd just got peaked all of a sudden. They're talking about slamming protons and neutrons into colliders. I'm all with it. So, man, that's amazing, though. People don't realize, man, we got a scientist in our caucus, man. That's amazing. So let's get back to the Black Caucus. Let's get back to you as a legislator. Our agenda, of course, as the Black Caucus, and I try to say this every moment that I get an opportunity, that our focus is education, health, and how do we put money on the tables in the households. And tell me about yours, though, inside the Black Caucus agenda and externally.
Well, the Black Caucus agenda it's an exciting one to get behind, to get excited, and I have some things that plug directly in there, and some things that ancillary to that. One, we have to keep our kids in school. Now, little Johnny might have a bad day, and he may be a little disruptive, but far too often we're pulling our kids out of the classroom. So I have a bill that talks about it needs to be a tiered process. There's an opportunity and to deal with something at its base level, to calm a student down. Trying to give the teacher some tools, but try to make that pulling out of classrooms, sending to an alternative learning environment, the very last thing. And also, as we go and shop, we see a lot of our parents are really our grandparents. So there's a lot of folks, grandparents raising their kids. And so if you compare what the state does for a foster a care parent to what they're doing for a grandparent that loves him or her, but might need some help as well. We're trying to at least give them about half of what we're giving the foster parents. So just to give them a leg up, to tell them thank you, you know, because a lot of times it's for, you know, it's addiction, it's incarceration, that there are reasons that the parent's not raising that child, but just to try to keep that child as close to a family situation as we can.
And let's pause there for a second, because I think that's vitally important. You know, in essence, the fact that the grandparents are not receiving the resources that a foster parent would receive would mean that the state really has a hand in removing the child away from their relatives.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
and so I want to thank you for that, for you know, peeling that layer back of the onion and getting to the core of some of the challenges that we're dealing with. And it's important for them kids to be, you know, around people that they are familiar with.
That's right.
And around what runs through their bloodline also, you know, because there's a way, there's a language, there's a connection that, you know, that has to continue in order for the growth of that child. You know, even with what you're talking about legislatively in keeping the children in school, you know, you know, having that in place, or that law in place, it creates that disruption in the school to prison pipeline.
That's right.
And so people don't realize, you know, what we do at the state level is we make the ground fertile for things to happen in a positive manner. So those are two great pieces of legislation. Any other legislation you want to talk about?
Well, you know, and it's really about getting that family back together and the family operating the way that they should. You know, it may not be a marriage situation, but, you know, one bill I'm looking at that we're going to push forward with is let's look at the sentencing guidelines. To be quite honest, in the 1980s, 1990s, and early 2000s, people viewed and sentenced nonviolent marijuana type offenses a lot harsher than they're doing now.
Right.
So I've asked for a study to see. Let's look at the sentencings that were done then, and let's look at what we're giving now. And if it's 20 years then and 7 years now, and this person has done an admirable job and has been in jail 10 years or so, let's release them. Let's get them back functioning within a you know, a family unit. Probably have kids out, and then as you get out, the second bill that I'm really excited about is to say a lot of times what keep a person from voting is you have to pay all of your court costs, and that includes child support, and that's what's keeping a lot of our men from voting. Now, child support is a huge responsibility, and I strongly encourage that, but voting is a right. So what I've asked is that as long as that recently released person gets into a payment arrangement with the courts, they don't have to have a zero balance, but as long as they're making satisfactory progress, they'll be given the right to vote again. Right. It makes a man and a woman feel whole to be able to go and cast their vote, and far too many of our people aren't getting that right. And that's an urban and rural problem. It
is, and I always say, you know, even people that come out of, you know, Tennessee penal systems, they still, in a lot of cases, come back and go to work in our communities, and they spend money and they pay taxes, and they are paying taxes without representation.
That's exactly right.
And that's unfortunate, and you know. But I'm glad that you're working on legislation like that. That's amazing. That's good stuff, man. Only stuff that a scientist could come up with, right? So look, you know, I truly, really appreciate, you know, having you here, and that our viewers will get a chance to kind of know who you are. Is there anything else that you would like our viewers to know before we get out of here?
Well, you know, just that I'm excited to be here. You know, I come from a great family. I like to tell folks that my brothers were formerly famous. They played for years in the NFL, and one of them was recently released, I'll say, from being a general manager for the Raiders. Really? And so, but he's still in the NFL. But you know, and it comes from my mom and my dad. It's all about the give back. I'm not here for Sam McKenzie's sake. I'm here to represent those 65,000 people in East and South Knoxville.
That's awesome and amazing. And I was born in Oakland, so I know how rabid the Raiders fans were. You know, they're a little mad right now because the Raiders are Vegas. Right. But you know, last thing you touched on something that I think is vitally important. You know, I always tell people that God gives us, you know, these tools and these gifts, and they're not for us.
No.
You know, they are for us to bless other people.
Right.
And law, I don't know if y'all know, but I always tell him he's really a reverend, but he doesn't. Right. But he hadn't accepted the call. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. But Sam, thank you so much, man. We truly appreciate having you here, man. You're an amazing person. I'm excited about your prospects and what you're going to be doing here at the Tennessee Legislature.
Well, thank you, and I'm excited about your leadership. You know, I'm a freshman, but the things you have on our agenda are things that's going to get to the core of what's going to make our constituents just raise the tide for all of them. So thank you.
Thank you too, man. Hey, it's all about improving quality of life, and you know, we here at the Tennessee Black Caucus of State Legislators, our agenda again: health, education, and how do we put money on the tables of the households that we serve. And again, it all goes back to improving people's quality of life. Hey, I'm State Representative Antonio Parkinson, and this has been the Tennessee Black Caucus Weekly. Make sure you join us and follow us on all of our social media at TN Black Caucus, and make sure you share this video and communicate with us. Reach out to us if you got some ideas, some things that we need to talk about, some things that we need to work on. Hit us up. Again, I'm State Representative Antonio Parkinson, Chairman of the Tennessee Black Caucus, and this has been your Tennessee Black Caucus Weekly.